Okay, we should now be live on the right stuff. Swear to God if we're not. I don't know what's going on. Is it worked? Are we good? Right, we're live. Okay, we're live at least on Hook Casuals on the YouTube. Sorry to the people that are watching this from the start. This is really, we're trial and error right now, but hopefully this will make everything better. The YouTube, Instagram ain't being too lovely. Do I need to go and do something else? Look, I'll do the intro, we'll get Paolo talking, I'll try and do something else. First of all, welcome back, 2025, hope you all had a good New Year, Christmas, if you celebrate, blah blah blah, it doesn't matter. We are back, officially back, from every Thursday. The episodes will be a lot better than they were last year. We're more focused now as well. And I think first of all what we're going to do is just play the intro as per usual, and then we'll go into what's actually happened in boxing in the last few weeks, really, because we've actually got a lot to talk about. But first of all, let's just get that going. Okay, intro is done, that works. Okay, so stuff is working. If you watch the Usyk Fury watch along, then you'll know this is already going a lot smoother, because that was very poor.
Yeah, that stunk.
It did stink a little bit, but what we've got now is we're on a different platform. So we're still, I'm still learning it in terms of the editing side. Paolo's still learning it in terms of again the editing side, but it's just everywhere. This is going to take a couple weeks to get like really smooth, but overall this will be better, especially for Instagram, TikTok viewers who hopefully will have at least Instagram running by the end of this one as well. But we'll see. We have a lot to go through, but I think first of all let's just do the standard of Paolo. How are you? Because obviously nobody's from this platform has said hello to you for a while, and me, but in the same way. So how are yourself?
Yeah, man. Been busy Christmas. Work didn't stop for me, man. Just had a very successful boxing show that we done before Christmas with DFC, and then went into the break. But it's been I feel like it's been quite a Christmas for boxing, man.
It has a little bit.
Big decline was Anui's getting taken off the card.
Yeah, and obviously with that as well, we've not just taken off, but we've actually got that's now been pushed back, and then Sam Goodman's had to cut again, and that's not really a fight that we're going to see anymore, which is a little bit disappointing, especially with the Akhmadiev guy, Eddie Hearn's fighter, obviously pushing for the fight. So it's a bit disappointing that we're not going to get that either. I think he's got his replacement, whose name I can't remember, but it's not going to be a great fight. That's the fight.
Yeah, no,
it's not going to be no.
Not a great start to the year, to be honest with you, but it is looking up from here. Obviously there was boxers card on the weekend as well, which I'm sure we'll go through shortly. But Callum Simpson got the win on that. Caroline Dubois it stopped in the second round, didn't it, because of head clash?
Yeah, so a little bit unlucky with that. I think really, when was the last time we did a show? I mean, we've still got to go back over Usyk Fury. Really, that was the last time. Yeah. So let's break down what's happened in that time. Usyk beating Fury again. I would love to tell people to go and watch that stream, but it's 4.5 hours and it is just all over the place. So don't do it unless you want to click on and off, which that would be, or just subscribe. Actually, whatever you do, do it with conviction. But we've had that. We then had the Inouye fight, obviously. Cantor moved. We then had Jai Opetaia versus David Nyaka, which kind of went the way I think we both would have thought it went, or would have gone.
I don't think he was going to go any other way. I feel like he was skipping levels fighting Jai Opetaia.
Nyaka obviously sort of like the third replacement. They had a lot going on for that fight. Nothing.
Big card down under though for Jai Opetaia. So again, another big fight, which was in Australia, if I'm not wrong.
True. So I mean, he sold 6,000 tickets. He's becoming a big name. We'll start talking about him as sort of one of the biggest. I mean, is he the biggest cruiserweight name?
At the moment, I would say so. Until Usyk comes back down.
Yeah.
If Usyk comes back down.
That's the thing. I mean, I think let's go straight into that. Usyk versus Opetaia. I don't see it as competitive.
It would be interesting, but you have to remember one thing as well with Usyk, the weight that he's got to cut to go back down to cruiserweight.
Yeah.
After fighting at heavyweight, fighting against the big guys as well. I just don't know at his age if even his body will be the same. There's a lot of weight to cut to go back down to cruiserweight when you're 37, 38, Usyk.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, I think
He's old.
there's big fights for him at heavyweight still. I think he wants to carry on fighting, but it's just, he get to a certain age, he's completed everything in boxing. There's like, what do you do at this point? I feel like you just have to go the other route of retiring, maybe.
Yeah.
Once it's still up. Because obviously this year we could be seeing Tyson Fury and Joshua, but then you could argue that them two, have they pushed on to like Fury? Joshua's in great shape. I'm not saying he can't fight, but do you think him carrying on long term is gonna? Does he need to? No. I feel like when you get to a certain stage in boxing, which Usyk's at now, as a big star, earning big money, I feel like it becomes unvalidated to sort of step in the ring. So at the same time, I don't know what's going to push him to get back down to cruiserweight. If he says he's going to do it, he'll do it. I just, if he's a unified champion at heavyweight, it's got to make sense for him to fight for the unified titles of cruiserweight. Again, not the IBF or Ring Magazine or WBO or WBC or WBA. See where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
I think he's too up the ladder for that. Fighting for one belt.
That's true. I also, the age thing is the thing that really does it. I mean, why would he bother? I mean, the guy's he's made so much money as well. Like, it's really hard to find a situation where I think Usyk would actually go, yeah, I'm up for this.
He cleared after Fury and Usyk 2. I believe it was about 110 million. Fury took away 75 million from that fight.
Yeah.
Second one. Even the first one they made loads of money on. So it's like off them two fights, off one of those fights, he's never got to fight again.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it becomes hard, right? Because then we're relying completely on Usyk just wanting to fight more. And it's like, he's done it all though. He's done cruiserweight, and he's beaten arguably better cruiserweights than there are now. Mainly breeders, sort of prime breeders that he beat narrowly, but he still beat him. Opetaia does look better than most of the cruisers, but we've not actually seen him. I mean, the last time he was in there with an elite cruiserweight was Breeders in the rematch, and that was an old breed. That was that wasn't like the most impressive performance, if we're being completely honest. The first time he beat him was impressive, but again, that's not a prime most breeder. So Opetaia versus Usyk now, I think Opetaia just get completely outdone. I don't think it's even competitive. Opetaia fights Ramirez first, then maybe we're looking at a more competitive fight. But we do this a lot with Usyk, where we say, "Oh, this is going to be tough for him." Not actually, to be fair, me and you haven't done that really. I mean, we didn't do it with Fury. We've both kind of gone, Fury's going to beat him. But generally speaking, there's always, he's in there against AJ the first time. AJ's too big, too powerful, outworked him. Second time, AJ just needs to use his weight, and then he'll beat him. Just outdid him again. Dubois, heavy puncher, Usyk just outdid him. Fury, too big, too strong, too technical, too quick, all the rest of it. And Usyk just beat him in every aspect. So there's got to come a point where we go, even if he moves down, is it going to, what's going to actually change?
But realistically, I know everyone's talking about sparring stories and stuff like that, but realistically, they're throwing Bacoli's name there. Is Bacoli good enough to go in a boxing match? Forget sparring, but in a ring and do that with Usyk for 10 rounds? I don't think so.
No.
What, 11 rounds?
No, he's not. I mean, he's just not. Usyk will move him.
Because this is the thing that annoys me. Yeah? People will say sparring doesn't matter, yeah, or sparring doesn't matter. So in terms of many years ago, Joshua supposedly at Finchley ABC battered Fury, pillar to post. That story comes out whilst the Fury and Joshua argument's happening. No, sparring doesn't matter. But Coley goes and spars Usyk. Always hurt him. Like he probably do damage to him in the ring. So are we picking and choosing when sparring matters and when it doesn't?
Yeah, of course.
Because I don't think it does. I think sparring is very different to actually fighting on the night.
I agree. People try stuff in sparring, right? It's behind closed doors. That's where you try. We don't know. I mean, I'm not saying this is what happened, but it could be that Usyk was like, right, I'm going to work on my left hand only in this fight. I'm not really going to use my right hand.
No,
but that's where sparring happens.
Yeah. People try stuff there. It's not. They're not going in with their. If they've got a fight in 4 weeks, I highly doubt that they're going to do every single thing in the fight that they plan or set out to do in sparring. They're going to try different things, and not to mention, the fighters are still in a training camp. They probably would have trained that day as well before, obviously sparring maybe. Some of them, or they're dieting, etc. They're not fully ready to fight. So the basis that we use sparring as an indication of if someone's going to beat someone is a bit of a casual opinion, because it can go two ways. You can be better in sparring, but then you can not be as good fighting in the ring, or be better than that person.
Yeah. No, that's true. I think it also depends on the person, right? I look at Joshua and I go, there's a slight potential worry that I'd be like, I think Joshua takes stuff a bit personal. Like, I think he worries about stuff. So I think his sparring story against Dubois and that kind of stuff, that actually might affect him.
Come into it as well, though, because when you actually think about it, you're going into the ring, and you're going to fight come Wembley Stadium in front of 90,000 people. Your nerves are getting into you. All these different elements that you don't have when you're in a gym sparring with 3 people. There's no pressure. There's not as much pressure on you as there is probably standing in front of 90,000 people. So when we really go off sparring stories, it's more of a question of, can you do that on a cold Saturday night in Wembley? You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, that's true. I mean, it is. You're right. It's a case of certain fighters won't care. It's possible Coley did batter Usyk in sparring. Like, if Usyk was trying to work on his in-fighting and closer
that's
fighting.
a confirmed story, by the way.
Yeah, I've heard it a lot. I think that's been around. That's done its time in the media. Like, it's never been disputed really. So, but we don't know the situation as in Usyk might have been. First of all, a lot of these elite fighters will do where they'll have 4 guys and they'll do 3 rounds with one, and then the fresh guy will get in. We have no idea if it's something like that. We don't know the situation behind this, right? Usyk will never comment on it, because Usyk doesn't. He doesn't give a shit about that kind of stuff. But Coley will, because Coley is trying to force fights, and I don't have a problem with that either. But the fact is we don't know it. And with Usyk, what we do know is on fight night, do you think he's going to be affected by previous sparring? I don't.
All I know is on fight night he walks down to the ring as unified champion. Unified was unified. Sorry, he would have walked down as undisputed. He had strips. He's walked down as unified champion. Heavyweights, held all the belts at cruiserweights. For me, that's all that matters.
I think he's got confidence in himself. He's never really been close to losing a fight. Not really.
Do you know what? I've got to ask you a question though. This is more of like on the business side of boxing. Do you think any of these fighters are really losing? Because I had this conversation the other day. Like, if I'm Fury and I've done the post-fight press conference, and I'm sitting there and I've just been wired 75 million.
It's hard to be too annoyed, isn't it?
Listen, I'm annoyed I lost, but am I not going to sleep for a week? Probably not. Probably will sleep for a week.
Yeah.
calmly. The money's got so ridiculous in boxing now. Like, even if you do lose, just put your head on that cushion.
This is an interesting debate. Then I don't know. We'll go into one. I agree. I think most of the top, the sort of like the top 1%, obviously, don't really lose, because how can you lose when you're getting that publicity as well? It's not. That's the thing. I mean, we talk about it, and it's like, oh, Fury's getting 75 mil, which is crazy money. He's also just had a fight in front of millions of people. The advertising, sponsors, everything else that he's going to get on top of that. The guy is just minted, right? So you can fuck off to the Maldives for the next year, not even think about the price of it, and be fine. But then when we look at the UFC and we go, oh, they're underpaid, or well, a lot of people think they're underpaid. But then the UFC are getting, they've had the top guys fighting each other for years, which now boxing does have, so I will not have the argument that boxing doesn't have it. Maybe boxing's still a little bit slower, but in some ways I don't mind that as much. It builds the fights.
I think the difference is with UFC, you're under contracts for fights.
Yeah.
So you're on a 3-fight contract. You win or lose, your 3 fights are done, and then they decide if they renew it or not.
Yeah.
So, and unless you're in that top 2-3% in UFC, you're not getting paid. You know, the average salary between fights is probably 50 to 100 grand, maybe bonuses 120 in terms of the average fight. Then you've got to take off coaches fees, you've got to take off tax, all of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So they're not really getting 120 grand. In that instance, that's why I think you see it. The reason in boxing, I don't feel like you can lose. Like Ngannou, when he fought Joshua, lost badly, woke up, and he got paid 30 million. He's earned more in one boxing match than he probably earned throughout his entire UFC career.
Yeah. I mean, I've looked it up. The average pay for a UFC fighter is $150,000.
How much?
150k.
Average. Okay, so it's gone up. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but that average is massively skewed because you've got like Conor McGregor and that lot who earn like millions and millions each fight. So apparently, a more accurate number would be about $90,000 per fighter in the UFC.
Take away, and then after you take away tax, or
and then
in
your tax
America,
on
you
it.
pay a lot more things as well on top of that when you get paid. So
And your trainers as well.
What's that?
You get paid trainers and everything as well. Like.
To take away that, maybe say you're walking away with maybe 50 grand. It's different. It's different money.
Yeah, but so do you think they're hungrier?
Yeah, 100%. I think MMA fighters are more hungry than boxers. 1,000,000%.
Yeah. I agree. I think this is why you get boxers, the young ones, the sort of 10 and 0, 11 and 0, when they're young. That's where the hunger is with boxing, because that's when they still go, I just want to win. I want to win. My dream when I was a kid was to be world champion. So the money rolling in and all this, they don't even have time to kind of comprehend it. Like Moses Hitalma could well be a world champion in 6 months' time. I don't think he will, but he could do it because he just wants to keep fighting. Whereas Anthony Joshua, and this isn't actually a criticism of Joshua in any way, but it's the same thing with Usyk and Fury. They're going, well, do you know what? We've kind of done it, and also look how much money I'm making. Why would I fight more than once a year?
If you've won titles, I use Floyd Mayweather as an example. Yeah, multiple weight world champion, earned probably a stupid amount in like one of the highest paid boxers of all time.
Yeah.
You get to 42. Floyd Mayweather probably could have stopped fighting at like 35.
Yeah.
So let's be realistic about it. But he carried on. But there's a certain point where I think you'll only see someone's desire and hunger at the start of their career when they're building themselves up, and then towards the end of their career. Because if you get to the top level, towards the end of their career, you've earned all the money you can. So now it's a question of what motivates you, what drives you.
Yeah.
When you're an up and coming like contender, your motivation and drive is to win world titles, to win titles, to be on the big cards, main event. So you've got an incentive to fight. But when you get to that middle point of you're there now, you've won X amount of titles, you've earned 250 million for fights.
Yeah.
You've now got to ask yourself, you're taking longer breaks from fights because you're going to do things that you couldn't maybe do before. You're enjoying life, you're comfortable. Do I really want to fight again? And some fighters do and some fighters don't. I don't believe Joshua was one of them, by the way. I think Joshua was driven to just compete. That's just my personal opinion. But then I look at Fury on the other hand. Fury's somebody who needs, like the boxing match, he's got to get up for it. It's money.
Yeah.
Derek Chisora will only fight for top money, which is why he's still fighting now. He seems so long because of the amount of money he can get out of boxing. But it gets to a point. It is about money. Let's not beat around the bush.
No, of course.
You get to a decent level. You're not doing it for free. You have a family. You've got kids. So when you look at that side of things, that side of boxing, I feel as if money exceeds world titles. In my opinion, if I'm being brutally honest with you, if you gave me a scenario where I could go and fight for the WBC and IBF titles, or I go and sell and you earn, well, say you come up from a contender and you're ranked number one, and you're probably going to get paid a couple million for it, right?
Yeah.
Or you're going to offer me 60 million to take a fight in Saudi. I'm saying, and I'm just using an example because it's ridiculous, but it's happening. What do you think I'm going to take?
Take 60 mil.
I'm taking the world title fight.
You take 60 mil every time. Every single time.
But
we're seeing that now with Conor Benn. We've got that with Conor Benn.
World titles, but then there's so many fighters that have fought on the small hall shows that haven't earned the money or been given the money that they deservedly so. So when they start making that money and it changes their life, their family's life, it becomes important. And also remember, at the start of your boxing career, you're young. 9 times out of 10 you don't have responsibilities such as kids, but that can come quick depending on your circumstances and family and stuff. But someone like Ngannou, who's basically got his family out of a poor situation they're in, money is the most important thing for him. That's why he come over to box.
Yeah. I mean that's why we've got. I know there's the argument of boxers would get battered in an MMA in the octagon and all that. I do understand that, but if you think that boxers are in any way like weaker in the mind or don't have the ego to just go, I'm going to beat an MMA fighter in MMA, then you're a bit of a moron. Like, the reason they don't do it is the UFC will never put up enough money for it. Whereas boxing will go.
Can't match boxing in terms of purses.
Exactly.
I'm going to say that one out now. So, me as a boxer, I'm going to stay over here and earn 50 million. Or I'm going to earn maybe, depending on who you are, or depending on how much UFC pay, because they have paid millions in some cases, but not millions and millions and millions. I'm going to stay over here and earn this. You sit there with your 200 grand.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing this now already, though. I mean, look at Conor Benn. Conor Benn's got 2 fights on the table right now, and it's Barrios for the world title, WBC welterweight world title, and he's not won a world title yet, Conor Benn. And then we've got Chris Eubank Jr., which is a bit of a ridiculous fight, but the money that he's getting offered for that is insane.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, the only reason that him and Barrios are not fighting is because the Eubank fight is still potentially going to get made.
I saw an interview today, and supposedly there's going to be something coming out next week.
Yeah. I know Eddie Hearn was trying to finalise it at the Ring event last night. 2 nights ago. So it looks like that's the way it's going to go, but that's where boxing's at. I don't know if that's positive or not. In a way it is, because we're getting the biggest fights. Normally the biggest paychecks are going towards the undisputed fights, the ones that we want to see. There's a couple, I mean, Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr. is one of the biggest fights in boxing. It's not the best, or even close to being one of the best fights. But will I watch it? Yes. It's a bit of an odd one.
Eubank's bigger than Barrios and Ben.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I mean, the paycheck for Ben Eubank is going to be about 10 times the paycheck for Ben. For Ben Barrios. Like, that's where we're at. Ben's going to earn. I don't know the actual number, but if I had to guess, he's getting at least 20 million out of it. Because the way they're going to promote that, I mean, the way it's already got promotion behind it. the minute that fight's announced, it'll be the biggest, it'll be the only fight that people talk about
100%.
till it happens. And Turkey Al-Sheikh wants it, and that's also the big thing. If he says he wants a fight, he pretty much always gets that fight.
Yeah.
It's like Canelo Crawford. That's another ridiculous one. Crawford could quite.
You'll make life-changing money in that fight.
But exactly, we're talking hundreds of millions, potentially hundreds.
These fights wouldn't get matched up if the money wasn't put up. You wouldn't see Canelo and Crawford if the money wasn't up for it.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened yet, but I'm confident it will probably happen at some point. Joshua and Fury, we would never see it if they're not putting the money up, which I'm hearing they're putting up for this fight. So
Joshua's hunting him. Joshua wants him.
He's hunting him, but Fury's approach is probably more from a business aspect, like pay me the right money for it and we'll go.
Yeah. I mean, there's no better time than, the best time was when they were both champions, but there's no better time than now.
That's still the big. Can I just say something now? World titles or no titles, that's still the biggest fight in heavyweight boxing.
I think it's the biggest fight in boxing. What would be bigger? I mean, Canelo Crawford would be huge, but I don't think it's the same level. And then I'm like, Haney Garcia too, just because of the drama of the first one. But I still don't think that's bigger. I think that's just it's a huge fight, but I don't think that's bigger.
No.
Ben Eubank would be up there, but it's not as big as Fury AJ or AJ Fury. I can't think of a fight bigger.
Yeah.
And that includes Usyk Dubois for undisputed, unified. There isn't a fight bigger than AJ Fury.
Respectively, and I say this now, even with the Dubois and AJ fight, there was a world title on the line, but Dubois needed that fight more than AJ did.
Yeah.
AJ could have gone and fought anyone in the heavyweight division. He's always going to be the A side in terms of when he fights Fury. That's different. They both bring in a similar amount.
Yeah.
When it comes to heavyweight boxing, Fury and Joshua are the powerhouses in terms of revenue.
Everything.
They're bigger. And, you can argue Usyk's definitely sort of near there now. But outside of Usyk, there's no one in that heavyweight division who brings in the revenue that Fury and Joshua bring in.
And I mean this with all respect. Usyk fights. So let's say Usyk takes a mandatory. I mean the heavyweight division is quite packed at the moment. Mandatories would be quite good. But let's say in 6 months' time Usyk has to fight Opetaia Jagba. How many people are watching that? Not many. Me and you'd watch it, but we would know where that fight's going. Like purists would watch it. Casuals not tuning in. If you put Joshua Jagba in right now for absolutely no titles, still do a fuck ton of money. Fury and Jagba, same thing. That's where we're at with those two. That's the difference. It's the same with Gervonta Davis. It's the same with Canelo.
Unless you put it on a Saudi card as main event, or
if you drop
it
down
on a Saudi card and you build it up, then I think everyone watches it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I'm talking that just as an individual fight. But I mean, in terms of the biggest names in the sport, like the guys that could fight and act like a bin man and still sell hundreds of thousands, we're talking AJ Fury, Canelo, Tank, Ryan Garcia. I wouldn't even. I don't know if I'd put Crawford in there.
No, I'll put Crawford in there. You're mad if you don't. You put Crawford in there.
Is Crawford like one of the biggest sellers? Sorry, he's a huge name. Don't get me wrong. Huge name, but I don't know. What are his numbers? Let's have a look.
Do you know what's mad? Yeah. Do you know who the most underwhelming world champion is?
Most underwhelming.
Underwhelming in terms of no one's really gonna watch him unless you're me, you. Purist. Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah, I was thinking it's Shakur or Devin Haney, but Devin Haney's kind of just going up.
The thing is, we do say this person's a casual, that person's a casual, but I feel as if without casual boxing fans who tune in to watch the big fights, fighters don't get paid the money they get paid. like let's have it right. Yeah, you're not. There's not a Fury and Dillian White at Wembley. There wasn't 90,000 people of boxing purists there.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? The model that boxing sold on is, I would say, maybe 65% casuals.
I'd say higher, but yeah, it's a higher number. Yeah.
It outweighs the purists. So, do you know what I mean? You've got the 10% who sit there and will commentate on the fights round to round, etc. in their front room, sitting on their sofa. Do you know what I mean? You could argue that was us doing reviews, but it's not. I mean, as in, you've got the 10%, but the casuals make for a majority of boxing fans, and that's just from me digesting the content over the years and looking at analytics of it and looking at different things that when you put on big fights, for Jake Paul to do the numbers he does, when he boxes, he sells it to a casual audience because boxing purists don't watch that, and Jake Paul done one of the highest pay-per-views against a 58-year-old man.
Yeah. And you've got the purists involved with Taylor Serrano too, and then just the eventual, I'll watch to see if Tyson can do something. I mean, he's a smart guy when it comes to it. For a bit of, just a bit of context, right, with Terence Crawford. This is an interesting article actually. I mean, I don't know if I can find the person who wrote it, or I mean, they're called Sam, so great. But it's about Terence Crawford versus Canelo and how they're sort of the numbers line up and how Tokyo Usyk actually kind of needs Canelo to get involved. Crawford Madrimov sold 75,000 pay-per-view. For a bit of context, Canelo versus Jaime Munguia, which is a bigger fight, but didn't have the Riyadh season back and all this, did 560k.
Yeah.
That's the level. I mean, Crawford Spence did 700,000, which I can't believe it's that low, but I mean that is huge. But that was meant to be the fight. But Canelo did the same number against Caleb Plant. Like that's the level. I mean, this is an interesting article because it goes into a bit more detail about how you can tell that David Benavidez, who is fighting a lot, he's still fighting as like co-main event on a lot of cards, and you've got Tokyo Usyk who's losing money on pretty much every event he does. Kind of needs Canelo, but it's interesting. And that might be why Canelo and Tokyo Usyk are getting on a bit better now, because their negotiations are going to be a lot easier when Canelo can go, look, I fight Munguia, nobody even likes that fight, and I do 560,000. Crawford Madrimov's actually a really good fight. It's 75k.
Yeah, it's mad. It's when you talk about levels, and it comes down to business.
Yeah.
Boxing comes to. I'm not a purist where it's like I'm sitting there going, it's all about what's going on in the ring. It's the boxing. Let's be brutally honest.
It's not.
Money makes the world go round. I'm just going to be real.
Yeah.
So money makes the world go round. Without the money, we ain't seeing none of this. Money over world titles.
That's what I'm yeah. That's where we're at. That's where we're at completely. I mean, this is where we're in terms of just everything. This is where we're at. Dubois would rather, if Dubois can get 100 million to fight Jake Paul, he's fighting Jake Paul. If Usyk's a bit of a weird one because I don't know how much he cares about the money, but also he's been paid off. Well, he's been paid 100 million, so it's kind of hard to. He's quite rich, so he can probably do what he wants. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. The key is that they pay too much, because I don't for one second think they are. They should get as much money as they can.
Have you ever thought about this as well? You think about, I wonder what. So, I'm assuming, what do they pay? What currency do they pay that into them in? Because that makes a massive difference as well.
Good point.
Because when you convert, if it's dollars or pounds to Ukrainian money, for instance, Usyk's very, 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 very rich.
Yeah.
So, and he's based in Ukraine, from what I believe. So, it's you've got to look at that as well. On where these fighters are based.
Yeah.
what they're then converting their money to, how they're doubling it.
Getting into inflation, all this kind of stuff, oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's facts though. Like these are the things you've got to look at. But at the end of the day, going back to the point, because I know you wanted to talk about a couple other things, Connor. So yeah, money makes the world go around, man. Barriers for a WBC title or Conor Benn, which will potentially sell out the stadium, and they'll earn, as you said, minimum surplus to 20 million. WBC title gets thrown out the window.
Yeah, every single time. And not even a question on it. Yeah, I mean, we've got some other stuff to talk about. Obviously, kind of covered the main bits. And to be fair, this is kind of a test stream. Like, it is the first of the year, we are going through it, but I'm slowly adding stuff. I was going to add a lot more to this one, but I'm like, we're going to just bring it back a little and just make sure everything works. And like I say, we're learning as we go, because I've worked out why the Instagram thing didn't work, so we'll just, when we're back on Thursday next week, we'll be live on Instagram as well. Hopefully TikTok, although that one is not as clear as to why that didn't work, but who knows. Right, we had the Ring Magazine Awards. That's kind of the final topic of the day. There's really not been a lot.
That was an episode. Ring Magazine Awards, I feel like was an episode of EastEnders.
There's a lot going on.
There was a lot.
Yeah.
Ryan Garcia pushing Conor Benn.
Yeah.
Conor Benn pushing Ryan Garcia. Do you know what I mean? Conor Benn and Eubank in the same building. Joshua seeing Dubois after his loss to Dubois.
Yeah, seemingly a lot of respect there. Joshua Usyk, Derek Chisora just vlogging the whole thing, going mental.
What does he call it? Delicious TV, innit?
Delicious TV, yeah. Derek Chisora's a funny guy, but fight soon. I mean, we need some fights really. Obviously, we had Callum Simpson versus Woodall, but it's a bit one. I mean, it's always going to be one-sided. Caroline Dubois. Again, it was quite one-sided, that fight, but it finished before the fourth round. They had a clash of heads, so it goes to a technical draw. But yeah, right, Ring Awards. Not too much to say. It kind of went the way all the awards, I would say, were fairly obvious. I mean, upset of the year, Hyman Gear getting knocked out by a guy that's knocked 4 people out in 26 fights. Makes sense. Prospect of the year, Moses Atauma has to be. I don't think there's anyone that even comes close to that level of growth in a year. I don't think. The only other shout would maybe have been Keyshawn Davis for me.
Yeah.
Just because he's jumping in on a world title fight on February 14th. Which would be interesting, because for me I think that's a big step up, but I think he's ready for it. I think he's a brilliant. Like, he's so good. He's gonna, he'll do well. And that, I think, Abdullah Mason's on it. Jared Anderson might be returning on that as well. Actually, it's the first time you see him back on the undercard.
I really don't know what to make of the Jared Anderson thing.
Yeah, he is. He makes his return.
It's a weird one because, like, I don't really know what direction he's going in with at the moment. It's just, I don't. I think he's unreal in terms of potentially, like, I still think he's like got potential.
Yep.
Sorry, not Eddie Hearn. But I don't know where he goes from here.
Yeah. I mean, the Piccoli loss was heavy. That was the hard part with it. It wasn't just a lost on points. He was outdone, and his head was broken. If we're being honest, like, it was bad. He's fighting a guy, Marios Calais, who I've never heard of. He's 12-3-1. Not a great record. He's got 10 knockouts, so he's got a bit of power. Like, potentially an interesting fight, but Anderson should win that.
My question is, Jared Anderson, you know, David Adelaide's there's talks of him essentially doing this fight, but you've got, if you look at the current heavyweight crop around that level, because I wouldn't say Jared Anderson's really earned the right to fight at the top world level.
That's fair. He's not.
But if we're looking at that side of the heavyweights, and then you go down to the prospects, but I'm talking about one specific prospect, Moses Atoma.
Yeah.
How many of these guys does he beat?
I mean, he doesn't beat Moses.
So I'm saying, how many guys does Moses beat at these prospects?
I mean,
low world level.
He beats all of them for me.
So I'm saying to you, man,
He beats all of them.
That guy took Hrgovic 12 rounds.
Yeah, 10 rounds, and then Hrgovic finished him in the 10th.
Yeah.
Atoma finished him in a minute 30.
Yeah, and Moses Atoma finished him in a minute 30. And someone said to me the other day that the interesting thing with Atoma is even the way he boxes, where he can pick shots to your head and he can go into the body, and he's alternating it with a lot of heavyweights. And this is something somebody involved with boxing, I don't want to say because they're specifically, with I can't say their name, but basically they were saying to me the other day when I was with them that they're not like his alternating shots, and even certain stuff he does, he's very unorthodox to see like a heavyweight do that and vary up the shots, like how quickly he does it as well.
He's fighting like a middleweight, but he's got the power of any heavyweight. He's so quick. Like he's honestly, I mean, it could go wrong. He's never really. We've never seen him take a big shot from anyone yet. We've never seen how he recovers if he has to get up. We don't know a lot about his like sort of that heart and sort of that determination just to win anyway, no matter how tough it is. But from what we have seen, he's got potential to go on and be the best Britain has ever had. And that's not an overstatement because of his age. I mean, I'm looking at the list of top. I've got top 20 heavyweights ranked. And well, shit. So this is where I don't know what to do. Well, shit. So this is where I don't know what to do because I don't understand how this stuff works. I mean, with the Talon, I'm saying I think look, he wouldn't beat Usyk. I think Dubois would be too much. Dubois could be too much for him. Equally, maybe he beats. No, he doesn't beat Dubois. That's getting ahead of myself. Dempsey McKean is not that level. He's going to go very far. He's going to do very, very good things in the sport. He'll be a world champion. I mean, I'm looking at the guys above him. He beats Jermaine Franklin Jr. Deontay Wilder's there. I wouldn't even count him. I know he's planning a return, but I wouldn't count that. He beats Hughie Fury. He beats Jarrell Miller. Jarrell Miller's a hard fight for anyone, but I think he beat Axe on technical speed. Frank Sanchez, tough fight. I think he beats him. Richard Torres Jr. That would be interesting. I think Atama would win, but that'd be interesting. Andy Ruiz. Depends what Ruiz shows up, but again, hand speed, that would be, he'd probably match him for speed. Luis Ortiz he'd beat, Hrgovic he'd beat, Joe Joyce he'd beat, Anderson he'd beat, Pulev he'd beat, Chisora he'd beat, Gassiev he'd beat, Dillian White he'd beat, Justice Hooney, really tough fight, don't know who'd win that one. F.A. Jagba he would beat, Varlin on his, this is where we're getting to better, harder fights, right? A top Otto Varlin, that's a, I don't know with that one where we go, so hold on. There we go. But Atama's a joke. We're talking about a guy that's 20, and I could go through the top 50 heavyweights and he beats 40 of them easily. And I don't even have to think about it. And I'm looking at the rest and I'm going, actually, I mean, Daniel Dubois, I'm like, if Dubois lands, sure. But would Dubois land on the title? Or am I getting ahead of myself? I don't even know. Maybe I'm just going to jump in a huge jump with that one. But it's really tough to say, like, it's a strong heavyweight division at the moment. Not the strongest ever, but it's strong. And it's Helmer. It wouldn't surprise me if he beat them all apart from Usyk. That would then be a huge surprise. Oh, and then Fury and Joshua as well. I'd be like, okay, that's a big step.
Yeah.
But he's incredible. That's prospect of the year makes sense. And then in terms of the other awards, what have we got? Round of the year, round 9, Usyk Fury. Kind of agree with it, but there's probably better rounds in terms of action. It was just that moment was just incredible to watch. But McKenna versus Joe Laws on the Boxer card round 1, where they both put each other down about 3 times.
Yeah, that's not gonna. Yeah, but that's just politics, isn't it?
Yeah, no, exactly.
That's not getting ring weighty.
No. But if we're talking legitimacy, then that's probably the best round. Other than that, I can't remember the other awards. I think that's really everything. I'm hoping by next Thursday we'll have some fight announcements. There seems to be a lot of news going on now about what's coming, what we can kind of expect. I think at the very least next week we're going to do a bit of a Conor Benn versus Eubank Jr. talk and a Crawford Canelo coverage, because it's looking like, oh no, we'll do AJ Fury, Conor Benn, Eubank, because those 2 fights are looking like they're almost destined to happen now. But hopefully we'll get some official announcements. And how has gone again? What is going on with this? So I need to sort this out. Or maybe it's not me, I don't know, but...
You there?
Yeah. Oh, what the... There we go. Okay. Right. That's everything from me. I can't think of anything else that needs adding.
We are back as normal every Thursday at 7:45, and obviously we're just now waiting for all the fights to go off, and the card's in full effect this year.
Yeah, we got a lot. But we are off. We're officially gone. We've got Instagram. We'll be live. If you don't want to watch on YouTube, you can watch on Instagram. If you don't want to watch on Instagram, you can watch on TikTok. If you don't want to watch there, then watch on YouTube and just keep doing that cycle until you've just, I don't know, just burnt. I don't know, that'd be a bit weird, but do what you want, just watch somewhere. Whether you're watching, follow, subscribe, comment. Things are going to get a lot bigger this year, and I mean already getting slightly better with how the stream's laid out. We've got some improvements to that clearly that can be made, but I've got immediate adjustments that are fine. So we'll get there. Give it 2 weeks, and then we should be like way better than last year. Give it a month or something, and then we'll be, I don't know. I'm chatting shit, but just subscribe, like, all the rest of it, and then we'll see you all on Thursday. Paolo, if you'd like to do the honours.
Like, share, subscribe, man. Do it before you end up in the mud. 2025. New Year.